remember when the 2018, the Kauri Anglong case happened when in Assam, musician and a businessman, they were lynched because they were suspected to be they were stealing children.
Yeah.
And I think we carried it on our page one, and I think many national dailies had it on page one. Karan, if you can tell us what thoughts were triggered in your head and how you thought of why and how you thought of developing this into a feature film.
I mean, at first it was just a shock to my system that, when I first read about it, that you could so unjustly be accused of doing something that you're completely innocent of, and then 500,000 people can collect within minutes and brutally, lynch you in that manner. That itself, that idea was extremely shocking to me, because I didn't think that it was something possible in India. Sure, we have heard about lynchings of all kinds, especially the Hindu Muslim, the beef lynchings. This was still more commonplace, I believe. But this was a very unique new thing that I had heard, that somebody was being accused of being a child kidnapper, which they had nothing to do with, purely because of how they looked. One of the musician had long dreadlocks. They were driving a car, a big black car. So it was actually these few specifics about these boys. The car, their look, that they were termed Jhopadora, which is a local term from, and the Jhopadora myth is that the Jhopadora is a child kidnapper. This is an old myth. And then as I dug deeper into how could that happen, then I discovered the sort of use of technology, because at that time WhatsApp, they were called WhatsApp lynchings, and now it's been whitewashed and not called WhatsApp lynchings anymore, very cleverly done by Mr. Zuckerberg. But then they were called WhatsApp lynchings because WhatsApp was being used and nothing to do with them, it's not their fault, but because that time you could transmit to a group of 200, 300, 500,000 people messages. And with technology, technology allows people not to have, if you can't read, you can't write, but you can use WhatsApp, because you have voice notes, you have imaging sharing of images. So that sort of started a bit of an investigation into what was going on, and then I discovered that this was just the case that came into national limelight because of those videos. There were some videos that started to do the rounds, very brutal videos, which I think got people, caught up in this storm. But in that time, from 2015, 2014 to about the pandemic 2020, there were like over 300 cases in every state of India. And the way it was playing out at that point, I'm sure, many of you already are aware of that there were these messages flooding that region, and then there would be like a dozen cases where people were being wrongfully accused and killed. Most of the time they didn't make it out alive. 90% of the time they actually never made it out alive. So it was this sort of unpeeling of this phenomenon and what's going on with it, initially more out of wanting to understand why, how, and really like sort of for my own need to understand it. And then being a writer and a filmmaker, very slowly over a couple of years, it sort of started to formulate into the idea of making a story. And it only sort of really crystallized into becoming a film when I met Gaurav. And we decided, okay, now let's try to make a film around it. And I think telling stories and making films is sort of a way of, finding this sort of reasoning within it. It's like somewhere a cathartic experience when you do that and you put it out in the world. And there was a certain fear that I had when I heard about it, a literal fear that this is the kind of injustice that can happen and nobody can be held responsible. So I think it sort of stemmed from that, this whole...
How long this whole process took?
I heard about it in 2018. We started writing the screenplay in 2019, 2020, you can say. And we shot the film in 23. And now we're here where it's released finally. So yeah, it's 7 years since...
Yeah, because of COVID, we had like a 2 years roadblock because we could not shoot it. Otherwise, we were planning to shoot it in 2020.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to the story when it was brought up?
I was mind blown. See, they came in, the pitch was very simple. I remember GD and KT, they came and said, "Ki ye India mein kabhi nahi hua." Indians have not seen a film like that, and we are trying to, make this road film, which is, I think the initial idea was to do it a single take, you know, and create that kind of chaos through the journey and all that. Keeping the story aside, I was very interested in the way they were planning to make the film. That was something which was very unique, which was probably breaking the norms of filmmaking, which I was used to, you know. So I was like, this can be a very thrilling experience. Young boys, all like, you know, we're all same age, and then let's get the emotions right in the script and go ahead. That was so. It was a very, I think in the first meeting only I knew that I'm doing this film.